so much for being with me this evening. Thank you so much. Let me know in the chat where you are watching from. It's always lovely to see some new friends here. Shauna, Liz, Elaine, Barbara, Nancy, Stephanie, Ron, Misty. Always good to see Misty in the house. Jean, welcome, welcome. Please just let me know where you're watching from. It's great to be with you live. So we've got some fun things to share with you tonight. I have two demonstrations. One is truly an experiment. The other I've never done before. So it will either be brilliant or you'll see me struggle, which is kind of cool, right? It's cool to see when things go wrong. And I'm in my studio. We just did a workshop this weekend, and I had an amazing barber here. And I'm looking at one of the mannequins, and I just have to bring you here because he's so scary. The hair's not scary, but he's scary, right? So look, the big reveal. Look at those eyebrows. What were they thinking about when they designed this face? I mean, oh, and then this one's not much better. The haircuts are amazing. He's a little bit better, but they were just looking at me. And just when you think it couldn't get any worse, right? I'm going to show you. This one, he's really yellow, right? Scary. But anyway, they're just over in the corner looking at me, these scary men. But anyway, it's not going to distract me from my work. So let's talk about tonight. I've got two special guests who you're going to meet in a little bit. Rosemary, who is a member of my art team. She's going to tell her story about her journey, where she's been, how we met, and how she did something really brave in her career that changed the course of her career. We're going to hear about that. Sarah will be joining us. She's a graduate from one of my programs, and she's done quite a few live events with me. And she's just hungry to learn and grow. And she's a salon owner with a great story to tell. So I think you're going to enjoy this evening. And as I say, you'll either see something brilliant for the first time, or you'll see something go so wrong. I've been stood in this place since 9 o'clock this morning. My husband brought me some food, says, you've got to eat. I went, I can't eat, I've got to do this, right? I've got to see my friends. So let's look at what we've got in store this evening. We're going to be talking about the haircut revolution, right? So what does that mean? I'll get into that. Why not jump into it right now? I'm going to show you my new collection. Are you excited about that? I feel as though fashion moves in cycles. And there are tiny cycles, hot trends that die in a moment. And then there are things that really take momentum and take time. So think about this just for a moment. I think it's about 20 years ago that there was this word called ombre. And before that, we used to do flying colors, and we would do rooted kind of techniques years and years ago. And so when we started to see like the huge regrowth kind of vibe and just the tips on the ends, I used to say to myself, that'll never catch on. Who's going to want such a massive regrowth? Because that's how I saw it, with just these blonde ends. And I thought, well, if we do those services, we won't need to see the client for years, right? Until you cut the blonde off. And I thought that means we're going to have twice or 3 times the amount of clients, because we know that long hair clients don't see us as much as short hair clients. We know that any kind of rooted hairstyle grows up beautifully, so you don't need to go back to your hairdresser as often. So I thought, we're creating the perfect disaster. And I thought, surely that won't catch on. Hello, right? Hello. Look at our business. Look at the color mounts. Look at the baby lights. Look at the soft color techniques that we're doing. That sort of grown out vibe that looks cool, as opposed to she needs a hairdresser. But that's been now 20 years of evolving. So it begs the question, what's next? How many of you are getting a little tired of just seeing tons and tons of long hair out there? And while I love long hair, and I'm going to show you some long hair tonight, which I'm going to give the illusion of making it short. How many of you just think, oh gosh, you know, Viv, it's getting a little bit old, all this long hair, and seeing all the Instagram feeds with backs of hairstyles, getting a bit old, isn't it? Do you agree with that? Just let me know in the chat, a little thumbs up or something. So yes, of course, it's all lovely, but on the right person, right? And not for everybody. And I do have this worry right now that the teenager is kind of looking like mum, and mum is kind of looking like granny. And if you put some of these haircuts, line 3 of them up on a bar stool, right? Just the backs, and you see the back of grandma's hair with her beach curls and her blonding. Then you see mum with her beach curls and her blonding. And then you see the teenager. You've got 3 generations there, which is kind of cool. But when they turn around, you go, woohoo, what just happened? The teenager and grandma, they're both wearing the same hairstyle. Now, I don't know about you. I loved my grandma. She looked a bit like the Queen Mother, actually. But I never, ever wanted my hairstyle or my fashion to look like Granny. I love my Granny being a Granny, right? And Mum used to wear some really strange hairstyles, which were kind of like these tulip do's with these pieces stuck on the top. It was called like the tulip hairstyle. I did not want a tulip. I wanted to be young and cool. So while I think it's wonderful to defy your age, right? I'm sure you know 20-year-olds that really act more like an old person because they don't have the energy and they don't have the charisma and the drive. They kind of shut down. And I'm sure you know some people out there. Last week we had Barbara here, who is now 80 years old, been doing hair for 60 years, and she just rocked this place with amazing hair. It was just so cool. So, there's your biological age, and then there is just how you your how you feel in your body, and you defy the age. You know what I'm saying, don't you? So there's your actual age, and then your physical age could be really, really different. And I think that's all about mindset. So while I love the different generations, I think it's our responsibility to recommend, to come up with ideas, to share ideas with our clients that make our work fresh and new. So I'm all about the revolution and giving the youth something that's a little bit more edgy and fun. So we're starting to see a lot of youngsters saying, I want to have my hair cut off. I don't want to look like my mum. How many of you are hearing that? Yes. Elaine agrees. Karen saying yes. Hi, Cindy. Great to have you in the house. So anyway, with that said, I'm on a quest to go into some great haircuts, because when we've exhausted all the long layered hairstyles, and I'm going to show you something interesting tonight to kind of break into this market. When you hit a wall and you've done every fashion out there, fashion has to completely turn around and go in a different direction. So I believe we're on the cusp of like really returning to some really great short hairstyles. And then the exciting thing, how do you color short hair to make it exciting? So are you ready to see my collection? Yes? And Sean is saying there's long hair, then there's really long hair. I know, the whole extension thing, right? I get it. So here is my my collection, photographed by Joseph Cartwright, an amazing photographer here in New York. This is all about a gorgeous curly texture. This one here, a little asymmetric with a little flick. It's a layered hairstyle just with some asymmetry. Here we have a pixie that has a lot of softness and a lot of texture and rooted. And as the question came up just a moment ago, if a client showed you this picture, would you be able to recreate the style? So as we go through here, the concept of this is a little bit of grunge with a whole lot of glamour. And I think mixing two opposites gives you something fresh and something new. Here we have a hairstyle that has facial framing, and it's a disconnection with the layers, and just a whole lot of fun. I'm going to show you something based on this concept tonight. Here we have our lovely little feathered effect that's so pretty. And obviously this is something we're seeing so often, but just a little feathering around the face. But then what do we do with that when we kind of set it and kind of give texture to it? And that's really a totally different vibe, isn't it? But again, it's all about the haircut. Here are our thatched bob with some ghost layers inside to create some lovely, lovely texture. Here, my moulet, a disconnection again, short around the face. Pixie goes into a longer back, which is totally cool. Here, I just love the texture and the layering through this hairstyle. And of course, a cute little French bob, completely razor cut and just very, very, very soft. So again, as we look at these, again, here we've got layers, a little bit of a bouffant going into a layer. So again, it was the glam with the grunge. Some people would call this a wolf haircut, but it's definitely very, very bouffanted. So again, if a client showed you this picture, would you be able to recreate the style? And that's where it becomes super, super interesting as we go through. So that's my new collection. I hope you like it. And we're just having a lot of fun just playing, as I said, with short hair. But how do we move people from where they are to the next thing? So just remember back how hard it was to talk a client into a balayage and an ombre. And now everyone wants it. And now we're talking about, how do we now move to the next thing with color? And as I say, I think a haircut is the foundation for everything. And obviously color livens up every hairstyle. We know that, right? So I just want to talk to you about how I've helped people. And I hope this is music to your own heart as I share this little information from fabulous Colette. She says that her business has exploded. Statistically, an average salon retains 35% of their clients. I can boast that I have an average of 85% retention within the last year. Not only did I grow my business 40%, but the people are coming back all due to the education from the hair designer program. It has been life-changing and statistics don't lie. And that is Colette. And Colette was amazing. When she first came to me, she wanted the training, but she didn't want to make the commitment of the time. The money wasn't the issue, it was the time. And then she said, well, I travel a lot and I do this, that, and the other. I said, well, why would that stop you? This is virtual, right? So her mannequin went camping, it went on cruise ships, it went all over the place. It was hysterical, but she showed up and she showed up and showed up, and the results absolutely paid off. So why listen to me? I'm going to take you on a journey tonight. I'm going to talk to you about how change is possible. I'm going to talk to you tonight about the generational differences and how we can start to make our haircuts look more modern and fresh. And hopefully I'm going to inspire you with two of the demonstrations that I'm going to do. So we're going to up the speed here. And for those of you who don't know who I am, right now I don't even know who I am. My name's Simon and I like to draw. So what we have here is my world. I love styling. I love dressing. I love cutting. My favorite place is in a photographic studio. Just recently, we did our first photographic workshop with a team of fabulous young stylists, and they did some incredible work. So it's my happy place. But I like to take the learns from there and obviously teach it back. And the most important thing is giving you tools that expand your creativity, your artistry, your repertoire, that open doors of opportunity for you. If you can do it, the work shows up. I love working with a razor in precision and also in abstract. And I love to do anything that has a nice edge to it, but then I always say, right, now how do we convert that and make that real? How do we take smooth to texture? And how can we make a pixie or a long hairstyle have something fresh? How can we dress up? How can we dress down? And really, how can we have fun with combinations of texture? And so that's kind of the direction in which I love to play. On my website, I've got over 1,000 videos. In fact, I think it's close to 2,000 at this point. We have a very interesting program and a format for training, and I will share that with you a little bit later on as we get into our demo, etc. But as you can see, strong haircuts, a combination of precision, texture, that's what it's all about. I've been honored to train some of the most extraordinary hairdressers in the world. You're going to meet some tonight, but two that have become very well known in our industry are clearly Ruth Roach and Stephen Moody, both award-winning stylists. And I remember them when they were just babes, right? And it's super, super exciting. So let's talk about what we can do this evening. We're going to be talking, Rosemary's going to come on in a moment, but we're going to be talking first of all about the hair designer map. What is that? If you think about all the choices you make behind your chair every day, the choice to cut a little or a lot, a makeover or not, subtle change, big change, whatever it is, they're all choices, aren't they? And what's really amazing is how we rush into a process. And I always say when I'm training people, put down your tools, vogue around the face, and use your hands to create the facial framing. Do that. Map out the hairstyle first. And I always talk a hairstyle through before I even do it, because I find it really helpful to hear myself say, the line will live here, the angle will live here, the layer will live here, the fringe will be. I actually verbalize the whole thing, which is my rehearsal, and it's saying, right, this is where we're going. And I need to know more than anything why I'm doing what I'm doing. The why is so, so, so important. So we're going to go over this design map tonight, and you'll see it in action. So obviously with this hairstyle here, the three hairstyles that you see, you can see that these are three soft layered haircuts, but they have such a different vibe to them simply because of the fringe. A strong fringe, a shattered fringe, and then a curtain fringe, but also the way that they're finished in terms of how they're styled, but also just the length. But it's actually the same hair cutting technique. So that design map is such an important thing to really understand in order to get exactly what you want. So what I do is I work on the consultation, and the consultation to me is the gatekeeper to everything that I do, everything I do. And we're going to go over, and Rosemary's going to share with us some of her experiences with the 3 wheels of fashion, how we design to face shape, and how technique is last. So I have actually created a system which is, if you follow it, it's actually foolproof. And the system is, number one, you give it to your guest, which is a consultation form. She fills out the form. So the consultation form does all the heavy lifting, right? Lift. And then I train you how to interpret it and how to take those ideas. And I don't view myself as purely a hairdresser. I view myself as someone who wants to guide on image and style. I've worked with so many fashion designers, fashion stylists, and photographers, and they're always looking at the story. It's not just a photograph, it's a story. She's romantic, she's bohemian, she's glamorous. It's a story. Every woman who sits in your chair and man, they have a story. It's part of their status. That's who they are. One woman may want to spend $3,000 on a handbag. Another one's going, no, I'm not going to do that. I'll just get the plastic version. I'll get it for $100, right? It's a value. Some women have no problem spending so much money on their color technique, but they'll compromise in another area. So we all have values, and it's up to us to be really clear in how we market ourselves through our social media, through the messaging that we put out there, to really be careful that our voice in social media is what we want to bring back in to us. We want it to be like that boomerang. So intentionality and creating stories helps build your brand. And the more important thing, helps elevate the value of your business in and of itself. So what's interesting is that 97% of hairdressers say they give a consultation, and only 7% of consumers say they have received a consultation, which is really quite amazing to me. But what are we doing today? The same as usual, just a little bit off. You know, whatever that language is, that's not a consultation. That's checking in. That's the surface. I believe it's important to take a deep dive, especially today when people are a little bit more cynical, when people feel a little bit invisible in this crazy, crazy world. How lovely to come to you. You're a destination, a sanctuary, a place where they can relax, and you can help them be the best version of themselves. And I think that's so very important. So a 5-star consultation, there's the rational mind, there's the logic of, well, she's this age, her face shape is pear, her hair is fine. There's some logic, right? That's the rational mind that gathers the information. But then there's your gut feeling. Well, she says she wants to go short, but something inside me says she doesn't. She's just saying that. she's brought that photograph, but that's so not realistic. That's not really what she wants, right? Because you start to do the little snips. She says, oh, is that, it's going to be that short? It's like, yeah, it's going to be that short. So there's that gut feeling. And if you live in gut feeling, it's that sense of anxiousness. And we don't want to live there. But gut feeling can be a good teacher. But then there's your intuition. And your intuition is where your creativity lies. That's where your inspiration is. And when we get stuck in rational thinking, we close the door to the creativity, the intuitiveness. And I think there's a huge part of who we are where we want to feel creative. And that doesn't mean putting trees on someone's head. That doesn't mean it has to be crazy avant-garde. I'm talking about every single day being creative and moving a parting around, making it more volume, trying something different with products. It's small things that can make a huge difference. So one of the things I do in my training, I say, right, the rational mind would say this, but the creative mind will say this. So if you're only in your creative mind, then some common sense and some practical things could fall by the wayside. So I'm always trying to teach an awareness, especially in the consultation, of which mindset you're in and how to give a 5-star consultation, which is why I systemized it. So the question is, have we trained our clients? How have we done that? That's the big, big thing. Have we trained them not to expect a consultation? Have we trained them to expect us to be always running late? Have we trained them to expect that we will be presenting to them new ideas of new styles according to the seasons? How have we trained our clients? So if tonight you're going to be doing either a screen capture of something that speaks to you, or tonight you could write down a note, this would be a very important one. How have I trained my clients? And then more importantly, what are you going to do moving forwards? That's going to be really, really important. What are you going to do moving forwards? Because the consultation is the gatekeeper to every single thing that you do. And I'm going to show you that tonight. So, do our clients know their faces better than us? You bet they do. And, you know, today we got a much more savvy client. She can research a product that you're using. She can know so much out there. She can gather as many pixies as she can possibly find. I mean, Pinterest is incredible, isn't it? For just putting in a word and boom, you get back that information. But we should be the gatekeeper of good taste and say, well, yeah, that's a nice pixie, but that's going to make your jawline look too strong. Or that's a nice pixie, but that's going to actually make you look more masculine, and you do prefer soft and feminine. We're the ones that can say all of this. So while AI is exploding around the world, and yes, you can try on hairstyles through AI, etc., etc. So I could put on right now, you know, a bigger hairstyle through AI. I could change the color of my hair through AI, but that doesn't mean it's going to look good on me, probably look quite ridiculous. But if I go and I see my Rosemary who cuts my hair, she could say, well, Viv, it's a cool idea, but let's now work with what you have, not something that exists way over there. So that's the brilliant thing of what we have. And if we don't take advantage of that, we're missing some huge, huge opportunities. And I think that's really, really important. So I also wanted to share with you, before I get into my demo and introduce Rosemary and Sarah, who's just arrived, the power of photojournaling. I believe Misty's still here. Misty is in the designer program. She's now going to be going through it for the 3rd year. She's won Best Performance. She just did a photo shoot in New York. And one of the things that impressed me was how much passion Misty put into her work. And she didn't just photograph a mannequin. She staged it as a piece of art. And she could show this image to her client. And clearly the client would be able to see what it looks like straight, what it looks like with wave and texture in it. And how lovely that when you're the author of this work, you can, with authority, say, well, this is how it looks in the back, and here's the photo reference. Here's what it looks like straight. Here is what it looks like curly. And, you know, you can actually, you don't have to sell at that point, because what you're actually doing is you're just informing your client so beautifully about what you can do. So to us, in our training, what we do is we watch videos. We have live events that are virtual. We recreate the looks that we learned in the video, which is the game changer. Then we post those looks into the forum, and then we can, with Cindy and myself, we can give feedback on the looks that the stylists have done. Now, YouTube can't give you feedback, neither can Instagram. And having structure versus random abstract learning, when you immerse in a structure, you get a result. When you dip in and out, some of it sticks, some of you forget, la, 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 la. There's something powerful about immersion versus dabbling. So I always say, if you immerse, you can be transformed. And my goal is not only to help you on that path, but also, how about fun? To me, fun is everything. You've got to have fun. I said the other day, if I'm not having fun doing hair anymore, I'm going to quit. Well, I've always had fun. I mean, the business side, not fun for me. Can't bear the business side, but you have to do what you have to do, right? You all know that. But the creative part, I have to protect the creative part, because if I don't, it kills a part of me. And I don't want to show up with part of me dead. So I have to do things that will inspire me and push, which is why tonight I'm going to experiment, and hopefully I'll pull it off and I'll do something really fun for you. So part of our goal as we are working on our styles is to journal. And we journal. And for example, the evolution of a bob, to show a client what it looks like when it's a bit of a broom, what it looks like when it's beveled versus what it's like when it's graduated. So having said that, I'm going to get into my demonstration. Before I do that, I want to bring in my lovely guests. I have Rosemary here, who I'm going to bring in, and I've got Sarah here that's going to come in and say hi to us. Hi, fabulous ladies.
Hey.
Good to see you.
Oh, it's good to see you. You can see my color wheel behind me and my little witch Petunia over there in the corner for Halloween.
Okay, she's
in the corner.
Oh, okay. Don't wear it, will you?
She's not going off. Yeah.
I love your haircut, Vivian.
Oh, thank you, Rosemary.
Yeah, I saw your video of Rosemary cutting it. I love it.
I know, guys, you've got to go and see it on social media. I did this goofy thing. Poor Rosemary, she's cutting my hair, and I've got my phone and I'm filming what's going on. It was quite amusing, because I'd been hacking away at my own hair, which was not a good idea. Not a good idea. So you good, Sarah?
Yeah. Yes,
well,
very good.
Sarah just was with us in New York, where she did a photo shoot, and tomorrow we do the big reveal. Oh my gosh! Wait till you see.
I know. I can't wait. One of the highlights of my career. Very fun. I slept for like 2 days afterwards.
yeah, it's pretty intense. Well, Rosemary knows what it's like. She's been with me on so many photo shoots. So I'm going to be asking you questions. I want you two to ask questions, and my friends in the chat, if you have questions, please pop them in, and I'm sure Rosemary and Sarah can even answer them there. And I know we've got my team here as well, ready to ask questions. Cindy's in the house, so is Jan, and so is Patricia, all very talented. So I'm just going to go over here and I will show you my girls. So this lovely lady here really has a curtain fringe, right? There you go. She's truly curtained. Okay, so this is your classic concave layer. We did it in class today. She's a lovely classic concave, and we know this so very, very well. Just nice layers in the back. The whole thing was just concaved through. And I've created a new color technique. It's called hot root ombre. I just put a stain over the hair, and I couldn't believe how different it is from strand to strand. But anyway, there it is. So this we know, right? Great, lovely, especially when it's on gorgeous hair. So we get that. But what about now bringing a more interesting haircut into our longer hairstyles. So on this side, I've already cut her. And in here, I've cut this area back, as you can see, and I've got this lovely movement through here. And it's very soft and it's sort of a little whimsical through here. The back is just nicely layered through. And I spend a lot of time in my blow dry where I just parked the heat at an angle here like this, because I just wanted mid-shaft bends and I wanted the top to be straight. So I'm going to show you on this side what I did, and hopefully I'll be able to match it. This will be really interesting. So I'm just going to wet the hair down. There we go. And show you the whole strategy behind this. Because as I said to you, I want to start thinking about short hair. Not every person's going to go for it. And you know what? I've worked with clients where I've said, I'm not going to cut your hair short. Your hair's too gorgeous. I think you should keep it. I love it. I love it. And then I've worked with people, it's like, oh, darling, that's got to go. That's got to go. Rosemary has heard me say that. Oh, darling, it's got to go. So this is a case where, you know, it's a nice texture of hair. And what I did was I took an inch of the hairline. I've gone to the front of the ear, the front of the ear. So I'm just going to gently pin this out of the way. That was gentle. I hope this blade's sharp, because I did put a sharp blade in, but we'll soon find out, right? So this is my razor. You can get this on my website if you want to get a really cool razor. That's my razor. I love this razor. It's amazing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to twist and razor the fringe, and then I'm going to do a very, very soft effect through here. Now, because this is already dry, this is going to be peachy fun. So it will probably be a miracle if it ends up the same on both sides, but who cares? She doesn't. So what I'm going to do is just take that little piece off through there, and I'll explain what I'm going to do. Then I'm just going to ask Rosemary and Sarah to sort of ask some questions and share their inspiration. So this is a big chunky section. I'm twisting it towards the nose. I'm actually holding the hair through here. I have this piece here, and I'm going to look at the hair that's equal on the other side, which is here. So I take my nail right to there. So now I release that. And now I'm going to come through here, and I'm going to just very, very, very gently and very softly glide up and down. And notice this does not move, because the thumb is doing all of the work. Now, the moment the thumb gets locked, that whole area is locked with tension, and there's even tension right there. So if this is locked, either the wrist has got to move, which is quite radical, or the elbow moves, or the shoulder moves. So I'm going to do another little piece. And so you can see how that is. Just going to come over this way. So I'm going to take another piece here. Again, I'm going to rotate it towards the face, to the nose. I'm now going to take hair that's over here on this side and just look at where that length is. There it is there. And now I'm going to gently slide through. So notice my thumb is moving, my elbow is still, my wrist is quiet, so I can glide gently through. Now, Rosemary's middle name should be Butterfly, because when she laser cuts, she's like a butterfly. She is so light and so gentle. And obviously I've had my hair razor cut quite a lot, but sometimes it feels like there's like a saw going through your head. It's like, blimey, that's pretty aggressive. So Rosemary's not that. So Rosemary, I'm going to just do another section here with a twist, and then I'll go into the facial frame. Tell everybody about what you learned from how you used to razor, how you do now, and a little bit about your backstory.
The backstory that you want me to talk about, is it in regards to the razor, or just
Well,
so much
how we met, and then
Oh.
how and then talk about how the razor, how you were with the razor, and how you were, blah blah blah.
Sure.
And then from there,
Okay.
and then
So
your life story, and then what you like, and what you have for dinner. We'll carry on with that afterwards.
dinner won't be that exciting. That'll take about a second. All right. So, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me be a part of this. And I believe, Nebo, your question is there going to be a replay? So I'm just going to start with that. Viv, I'm assuming there's going to be a replay for them to see again. Yes? No?
Yes, there will be.
Okay. So he's having some
all fast and backwards.
all fast and backwards. Okay, so there you go. That's your answer. So, so in regards to how Vivian and I met, when I was about halfway into my career, I've been doing hair now for about 33, 34 years now. And there was a time where I worked in a salon where it was like a machine, basically. And I found myself at a place where there wasn't really much more room for growth. And though I had asked for the next tier of my life, I wasn't given the opportunity, unfortunately, based on the fact that I was a woman. That was basically what was happening. So I actually made a decision that I probably was going to quit the career because I felt like it doesn't look like I'll ever go any further. So fast forward, a person that I was working under had given me a book on Vivian, and she ended up being a guest, one of her collections, and she ended up being a guest. And that particular day, there was a voice in my head and said, this is the woman that's going to change your life. Don't sit in the back, because I'm a person that is more of an introvert. I like to be in the back of the room, away from the crowd. And I sat in the front. And for 3 months, I was contacting Vivian in regards to just helping her in any way that I could. I didn't have to be doing hair. I was very busy at the salon. Doing 25, 30 haircuts a day was not abnormal because that's the environment I was groomed in. But I wanted to learn how to become more of a fully skilled artist. So finally, Vivian and I always joke about either she got sick of my 3 months of direct emails, contacts, anything that I could possibly have to reach her, or she felt really bad for me. And I started assisting her in anything and everything that she wanted. And anytime she asked, I just said yes before I even knew what I was walking into. One of the things was when she decided to create an art team is that when she said that you had to do an audition. Now, mind you, again, I was doing this for quite some time in the world that I was trained. And I said, okay, what's my audition? And she goes, well, I wanted to see if you were really willing to give up what you knew to learn what you needed to learn. And through that process, that was about 1.5 years of training that I went through, because she was stretching me to see if I was willing to give up to go up. And it was one of the best decisions I ever did, because if I didn't give up to go up, I wouldn't be able to be where I am, because I was so aggressive in everything that I learned. My hands were very heavy. Everything that I was doing, though it was working for the salon, it wasn't working for that next tier of my career. So fast forward, Vivian worked with me, and she helped me through a lot of the process of learning how to step back, how to design with intention and purpose, how to find the type of clients that I would want to serve. And all these years later, as of 1.5 years ago, I have decided to take on the next step, because it is something that Vivian helped me to believe in myself, to go on my own, because I always worked for somebody. Now, it's not for everybody, and I know there's a lot of mixed opinions about it. And I don't think that if I had done it 15 years ago, even 20 years ago, I wouldn't be able to understand the dynamics of the importance of how you show up in life to those that you serve. And we're very fortunate to be in a business that we are. So all I can say to you is, for those of you who are new to Vivian's world, or those of you who have been in it, always step out of your comfort zone, always step out of your box, redesign who you are so that you can serve those that you bring into your world or have the power to meet, and redesign them as well. So that's my journey.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. It's funny, right? Rosemary, if somebody had said to you back then you'd end up cutting my hair, you'd have probably had a heart attack.
No, I still do. The only difference is I still do. I just learned to realize that, you said something to me one time that was so profound in one of my trainings with you. And you said, how is this serving you? So it helped me to think 5 minutes from now, is it really giving what I'm supposed to be doing? And that is, cutting your hair. So I'm very grateful that you trust me and in doing it. And I love my hair. For those of you who haven't seen, I'm got my hair cut too, but it's a little dark, so you can't see it all.
That's great. Well, thank you, Rosemary. So while Rosemary was sharing her story, I did a few very important things. I measured the length here and I held the hair here, and then I held what I was going to cut here so I could do a comparison. And then I came through and I cut. Now, usually I do my right side first as the haircut, then I come in with the left side, so I never have to change hands. But for some reason, I decided to do the other side first. I don't know why. The other thing too is that I've just very, very soft, long strokes through here just to create the softness. And notice that when I blow dried this, I blow dried it snug around the face and I dragged the hair down here so that I've got that nice soft effect. So again, in here, I will just do a little tiny bit of twisting and soften through, and another twist and soften through. And then I'm going to now take the next section of the hair, and I just want that to kind of kick out a little bit. Then at the next section of the hair, I'm going to overlap. So this now is going to be disconnected. It's not going to connect into that part. So I'm going to over direct this hair forwards, just mist it on the ends here. So that, actually I have to mist it all the way through. It dried strangely. So I'm just going to come through here. And what I'm going to do is now take my other side and look at where my connection is. So this now is overlaying here. So the nice thing about this is that when the client wants to put her hair back or tuck behind her ears, she's got these cute little short pieces. And she's got a little bit of a short haircut, living in a longer hairstyle, which is just a really nice effect. The twist gives you that nice softness around the face. So it's just really very, very cute. So here I'm going to over direct the hair forwards and just look at where my line is. And then the same here, over direct and look at where my line is. And it's mentioned about mapping. So for example, in here, I'll just bring this forward now. I gave myself a focal point here and here. I had a focal point from there. So now as I come through here, you can see that this is gliding down. And then this is all framed through here. So I've got a section on the underneath, which is like a triangle, and I have this coming around the face. So now on this side, I'm going to over direct and connect through. And I'm going to aim to my focal point there. So again, I'm going to look at my line and go, right, where do my fingers need to be? They need to be there like this. So I look, I'm pointing to the chin. So that's where I'm going to be. So always make sure when you're razor cutting, the hair is wet. Now with scissors, I would not be able to get this same effect. It would be definitely different. Again, I need to make sure that my length is correct through there. So now I'm just going to come through and I'm going to take very long strokes and glide and come all the way through here, long, over directing and gliding and connecting through. So now I'm going to take both sides, left and right, and see if my sides are the same. Now, this is something I do. I think, do this for me for a moment. If you collapse here, which is how we spend a lot of our time doing hair, right? Well, I don't, but that's what we do. That's a very downward energy. When you lift up here, just do this for me right now at home, unless you're driving. Drop down and feel what that feels like. How does that feel for you, Rosemary?
very almost like defeated, I guess, if you want to feel like it feels like heavy.
All right, now boobies on the shelf.
Sorry. Don't do that.
How's that feel?
I feel like a rooster.
She feels like a rooster. So whenever I try and stand as much like this as I can, as opposed to this, I try and stand that, and I'm going to bend from the knees. I try and keep a very straight back. But now, bear in mind, I'm an ex-dancer, really ex, but I do know what good posture is, and I ride horses. So you've got to be very correct when you ride horses. So this is really important to me. But when I look at my work, I always step back, and with intentionality, I open up, and it's a very powerful place to be, really powerful. And it just gives me like an alignment. So tomorrow, try boobies on the shelf. Lift the sternum up, and you will be perky and happy. Sarah, how does that work for you?
Okay, I'm never going to forget boobies on the shelf. But it is amazing. I felt much more centered and present. You know?
Yeah, it's kind of cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it.
So I'm just going to quickly dry this one side. As I mentioned, I did quite a lot before, but I just want to show you the concept. But let's go over to Sarah. Sarah, talk about your journey.
Okay, so hello, everyone, and thank you for having me as well. I've been in the business for around the same amount of time as Rosemary. I have worked for myself since about 5 years into the business. And when I first started in the industry, I just felt like I was walking around with a bucket all the time of just fill me up with your knowledge. I was like so excited. I loved doing hair. I still love doing hair, but there was a period where life demanded a little bit more from me. And I started letting the clock kind of dictate like my business and the money that I made. I was a single mom, and I had to, be a provider for my family. So for about 10 years in the middle of my career, I was really, really focused on money and time. And I gave away my joy. I really did. And when my boys got older, I decided to get back into teaching because I taught for a couple of different brands, and I was really interested in getting back into that. And so just like the process of learning, like being a student for life fills your cup. It fills your bucket. And not only do you get to learn and grow as a stylist, you get to learn and grow as a person. And I first met Vivian 2 years ago. I went to her studio in the Hamptons and did 3 days of hair cutting. And she had just started the hair designer program. And I was just hooked. I love her energy. I love her techniques. I love her learning, her teaching style. She's the best educator I've ever had the pleasure of learning from. And I've learned from some great people. And I just I love the hair designer program. I feel like it changed my life, truly. The attention to detail, the habits behind the chair, they overflow into your life. So yeah, that's really it. And here I am today. So.
And tomorrow you get to see the big reveal.
I know. I'm so excited. That was a big learning. There was a lot of learning in that. And I am just so grateful. So amazing. Creating with you and just being on set with you and Joseph. And, there was so much out of it, but I've been really thinking about something that Joseph said too, during one of our prep classes that we had. And he just said, this success is built on a mountain of failures. And I, as a professional and in our industry, we can get very ego based. We can find ourselves in that place where we don't want to look like we don't know. And to make yourself vulnerable and to really be that student, and really, letting go of of trying to look good all the time. You know, like I've got it. I have the skills. I have this clientele. I have whatever. There's always room to grow. And that comment of, you know, success is built on a mountain of failure. Like it's really, really important that we continue to try in our life to improve.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I haven't completely dried her off, but she's dry enough that you can see the vibe here. And I'm just doing some freehand, a little bit of trimming through there. But I think it's just a very sweet effect to show the short pieces in there. And as you saw, just like that cute reveal. And obviously when the hair goes up, you've just got lovely little pieces that will cascade down. So your client has something that's just very, very, very sweet. So basically what it is a veil that's shorter, and then above it is the disconnection of these little pieces that just come through. So you have two haircuts actually, but the idea is to start to get your client into a wider facial frame, and also encourage her to start playing around with what she can do in dressing her hair to sort of see where that goes. So obviously when this is all brought forward, it's hidden, right? It's all hidden. But when we open it back up and just let these pieces come through, now you've got something really very, 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 very cute and very, very sweet through there. So I hope you like that.
Love it.
It's cute, right? Very, very cute. Very, very cute. So when we're looking at our world here, I was mentioning obviously the consultation and, you know, the three wheels of fashion and how that plays out. When we're doing more mature ladies and we're looking at the transformation, this lady in the beginning almost wanted me to be her puppet because she wanted the hair to the shoulders. She was very, very specific. She didn't like her jawline. She didn't like her neck. And I kept thinking, why would we do hair around here? It's just going to emphasize all the volume. So I started to vogue around her face and basically took her to this. So, you know, it's a really good example of when someone comes in with a preset idea, but what's really, really possible is that transformation. And, you know, she's now thoroughly enjoying her shorter hair. She feels less, you know, heavy around her neckline. She looks younger. And what was interesting was that she said, oh, well, if I have my hair cut short, wouldn't that make me look older? I went, no. I said, we're not going to give you an old lady haircut. We're going to give you something with a little asymmetric. And this is where, again, color comes in to make it much more fun and much more creative. So I think that's important. So who is sitting in your chair is a very, very important part of our training. And if you were going to join me, this is where I would encourage you to start. Who's sitting in your chair? So what we look at is, how is the hairstyle going to whisper, scream, or shout? We look at the fashion aspect of your client, and we look at the sensuality of the client. Now, it's very hard to ask a lady, well, how sexy do you want to be? So we don't. We do it in the consultation. And the consultation, she can start to ask whether she wants something more feminine, whether she wants to feel a little bit more glamorous or sexy. So we try and design to the personality, not just to the length of hair, and not just to face shape. And this is where the big change takes place. So for example, if you just look at these three images, well, four images here, you've got glamour on one side, you've got the curtain fringe that drags down and the face is closed, you've got the elevation of the center parting so that it's lifting away from her face. And then you've got all the volume with the center parting. So this is one setting technique. The parting changes everything, and the elevation around the face changes everything. This is what I was speaking about in terms of being creative. And I know that Sarah had a lot of great experiences around that, didn't you, when you were playing around in this way?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to just take, you know, one person and change their part, change their texture from smooth to you know, curly or wavy, and yeah, and the different lighting and stuff too. So it's fun to take one, and she had a great time, and she felt very glamorous and very taken care of. So not only was it useful to me, it was really fun for her. So sometimes you get afraid to ask people, and they love it when their favorite thing is themselves. so the extra attention you give them,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So here again, you look at these 3 styles from a personality perspective. You've got a little bit more edgy with the girl with the flat iron. You've got a little bit of glam in the center. And then the curly texture, it's just very feminine. There's some romance there. So they've all got a layered haircut. They've all got facial framing, but it's the styling that changes the personality of this haircut. So that, again, is so very important. You see, I teach more than a hairstyle. I teach patterns to success. And that's what's really important in my training. I want you to understand that there's a mindset to success. And what we like to do is we like to create a success path. So what I would love for every single one of you who's here tonight, I would love for you to book a coaching call and speak with one of my team members. They can guide you. They can listen to where you are, where you want to go. They can go through the success map with you and then lay out a plan and a strategy that's going to work for you. You see, you can do a lot of this by yourself, clearly. You grab a bit from here, grab a bit from social, grab a bit there, but it's very random. There's something different about being part of a community, part of a sense of belonging, where you get feedback, where you get support. So I encourage every single one of you, if you're not part of our program, and I know that there's some faces, some names there I don't recognize, join us. And for those of you who've been with us, come back again, because it's so good to keep topped up. It's good to keep that training going. So one of the things that I feel is very important is how to build your brand, how to stand out from the crowd, how to take great images of your work. Because remember, a great photograph will work for you while you're asleep. A great photograph will cross boundaries. A great photograph can go to the other side of the world. I've had people from TV companies approach me. It's like, how did you find me? Well, we found you on Instagram. It's like, really? And I'm like, really? Yeah. And they said, you've got a really strong blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, really? So it's just amazing when you put that intentionality out there, what can come your way. Think about this for a moment. What doors have closed because you don't know how to open them? What potential lies within you that you haven't even tapped into because nobody taught you? Are you a product of going to a bad beauty school and you've just had to kind of fight your way to the top? I was really lucky. I had a pedigree training. So when I screw up, shame on me, because I had great training. But what if you didn't? And now you've got habits that don't serve you anymore. One of the things that I know is so important about success, and this is really, really important, habits. Breaking an old habit and creating a new habit that serves you better is one of the hardest things to do. Recognizing the habit that doesn't serve you, breaking it, replacing it with something that does serve you. In my training, I say I just want a 1% shift, a 1% shift, a 1% shift. I'm not asking you to jump through hoops. I'm asking you just to make a baby step, which is why we don't rush. And because we don't rush, we get there faster. That's the irony of it, right? Everyone wants it like yesterday, but that's not the way it is. That'd be cute. I just dropped oil on the floor. Woo! Right it, cowboy, right? So habits, that's where coaching becomes so very valuable. How to regain your confidence if you feel like you've lost it? Confidence is a roller coaster. We have highs, we have lows. We have one client that goes out and it's not really what you wanted it to be, and it can destroy your whole day, right? So and it's great to have Bianca here. Bianca's joining us on a wonderful journey. She's based in New York, so we're thrilled to have you, Bianca, really thrilled. So what we want to talk to you about is increasing your value behind your chair. It begins with a consultation. It's how you make your style, your design decisions. That's what it is. To become more creative and get off the assembly line, that's where it begins. Stronger technical skills that result in a happier client, and of course, a happier you. That's part of our goal. And that's what makes this so exciting. So my training does save decades. It really does. And, you know, Sarah came into the studio and she did one of our photographic workshops. We have a lot of workshops, which is why we say book a call. That way we can make sure that we've got the right fit for you. So Sarah came in and we did some Zoom trainings before, and then she came in for 2 days into New York. 40 years of being in the business. Joseph, as a photographer, many years, bringing in our team, our talent, the years of experience that we brought to the table. Sarah was able to fast track through so many challenges and roadblocks and struggles in a very different industry. The world of freelance, the editorial world, and the doors that will open are totally different things. So, you know, there's something powerful if someone can take you there now and save you decades. And the saddest thing that I hear, and it really is sad, when somebody comes in here to the studio or I meet them online and I show them things, they go, wow, I just wish I'd done this sooner. And then they'll say, oh, I met you 10 years ago or 20 years ago. And it's like, well, what have you been doing since then? Well, you know, I've wanted to come and see you, but life got in the way, but. Yeah, one of those jobs, right? Well, you can't get those years back, right? So when you make the decision and do the right thing now, it's so powerful. So I really encourage you to do that because, you know, Colette, she took 30 years to get to having a 6-figure income. Doesn't have to be that way. So you don't have to wait 3 decades to get your result. So what we want to do is make more money, don't we? In less time. And Sarah can tell us a story about that. So what we want you to do is be aware of to book a call. It's a coaching call to establish new goals and to get you on your success path. So I'm going to now dive over into my my next mannequin, and I'm going to have Sarah and Rosemary, they can chime in and ask some questions and so on and so forth. So this is my experiment, Rosemary and Sarah. I thought if I could take really long hair. So this hair was originally, well, it's very long hair. It's way down here, right? So I have taken the hair here, and I've never done this before. I just sewed it into here. So if you look closely, still got my needle here. And basically, I did a little twist and I sewed this through. And I have just given her this cute little area in here. And I'm just going to take it off. So that's that part. Now in here, she also had really long hair. And I did some panels in here. I just sewed through here. And I sewed through here. So it's all sewn. Then I went through this. And I went through with a curling iron. And so now I'm going to run my fingers through the hair. And my goal here is to make long hair look short. That's my goal.
Oh, sorry, we're leaving. Okay. Do you want us to lock the door? Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I didn't. No, that's okay. You're good.
So, Rosemary, would you like to sort of share any insights or anything that I may have touched upon that you'd like to kind of re-emphasize?
Well, I think, you know, you were talking about when you curled the hair. Now, were you intentional about the directions that you were going, or did you how did you focus on the curl pattern?
Well, first of all, I started off with a bigger iron because I just went to what I knew. And it was like, this is so not working. And it took about 5 sections to realize it's not working. And the voice inside, the intuitive gut feeling said, it's not working. And the rational mind said, oh, come on, you just got to get it done. And then the intuition mind said, it's not working. And I went, shut up, it is. And it was like, and then the rational mind went, oh, it's not working. So then I thought I better change it, right? So yeah, and then I got bored.
Wow.
Which happens, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there she is. She looks like a witch. So I'm now going to just bring this up and make this look like a little bob. That's my goal. Now, what we can do with this is we can pin this. We can pin this because I've got the area in here where I sewed to be my little bob area. So that's what makes this really interesting. So the first place I'm going to go to is I'm going to bring this into here because that will be my bob area. And as I said, I want to make this look like a bob.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to break up this texture. Then I have my needle and my thread. It's already sorted out here. There it is. I've sewn for years, by the way. I couldn't sew a hem on trousers, but I can do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my computer screen as my mirror. Oh, what's that noise? Are you okay, Sarah? I thought you were falling off the chair. All right, so I'm going to just come in here and just get that sorted. Now, before I do that, I use my mirror and I look. She's already looking like she's got short hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to come in here now and gather all of this. And I'm just going to sew into what I have already sewn into before. This hairstyle will last a year. It's so well sewn. I could always say to her, listen, sweetie, if I tug on this tight, you get a 2-for-1. I'll give you a facelift. Oh, that didn't work. Hold on. I've got to go through my loop. Hold on. Just go through here. And now I've got to go through this thread without dropping the hair. Oh, come on. Where is it? There we go. All right. So just going to come through here. So, Sarah, talk about the consultation, how that's really helped you in your business.
Well, I love the consultation and the 3 wheels of fashion because I feel like I've gotten to know my clients so much better. And even though I have clients that I've done for 30 years, once I started using your consultation forms, I had everybody, even though I've known them for a long time, I had them fill out the consultation form and the 3 wheels of fashion. And I got to know them better than I thought, I got to know them even better. Because there's questions that in those consultation forms that I just never asked, especially when it's like, the wheel of sensuality. I had a client said, oh, that doesn't apply to me. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And she's like, well, it just doesn't apply to me. And I had known that she was in an unhappy marriage, but I didn't realize how kind of she had cut herself off from even feeling feminine or sensual or beautiful, but I like even the questions of what is your favorite feature? It really allowed me to have more ideas for designing around their face to open up their eyes if their eyes are their favorite feature. So it really it becomes it's a very helpful tool in designing for that client's lifestyle, their face shape, their hair texture, everything. So I felt like I was really being able to serve them better and they're happier.
Yes, absolutely. So I've got this cinched up here and I sewed into that area where, so look, here's her little bob, right? She's got short hair now. So now I've got to use my mirror and I've got something really strange happening there. I don't know what that is. So I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to get that baby down because that's not looking good.
So Vivian, there's somebody named September Rose is asking, is this program for beginners?
Yeah, we've had people that went through, well, it depends which program you do, obviously, but we have had people go through the program who haven't even been to beauty school yet. And they graduated from my program and then went to beauty school.
The hair designer program?
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Macy was one of them. And Vanessa, who's just about to join, who's joining us, the one that's about to launch now, she's still in beauty school. So yeah, actually, sometimes it's better because you don't have any bad habits.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give them to you.
That's not true.
So look here with this one, right? Like this little bit here. What are we going to do with it?
Cut it off.
So we go over it like that, and then you go through here and out the other side. Now you see I'm going to cinch it up. Oh, this is really clever. Look. Oh, there she goes. There she goes. Now I'm going to go back in here and sew there. So this is fun, right? But anything that you try for the first time, you've got to practice it on, you know, your little mannequins. Otherwise, it could be really, really scary, really scary. So, you know, there it is through there. So I would say if you've got questions, just call us. We don't bite hard. If you've got questions, we're here to answer. Our designer program is about to start, and I think we've only got like 2 places left. So if you want to join the designer program, I highly recommend you get right now onto the link and book your call so that we can help you. So this is now looking really very pretty. It's looking like a bob. I love the feature of the needle just dingle dangling like that. I've got great texture. So what actually happened was, as you saw, I had sewn the underneath, but you could just do braids. You could just do a cornrow braid so that you've got something to attach the hair to. And then when you're done with this, you just do a little knot. Oop, and you're done and dusted. This is elastic thread. And you can go in then with your diffuser if you wish. But this is a nice way to take long hair and make it look short. And you're just playing with your client's lovely layers. You've got all this nice softness here. You can just use 1 can of hairspray to hold it in place. Actually, when something's sewn, it really holds very, very, very well, really well. Having the thread dingle dangling is not a good idea. My knot, there you go. The whole thing comes undone. So do you like that effect?
That looks beautiful.
Pretty, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm going to try it.
So what I've shown you tonight is to take your long haircut and do some undercutting and give your client just some short, sweet little pieces so that when she puts her hair up, she's got some short pieces. I've also shown you the client that's got long hair with layers, how you can do your little faux bob, and you can have something really fun going on with that, with, say, the hair's curled in this way. So you can obviously go in and diffuse. Sometimes I diffuse at the very, very end, and that makes it look nice. I would photojournal it. And the photojournaling then becomes part of the training as to, right, you know, how balanced is it? Now, if I needed to pin it, I've got my pins all organized. I could come in here again. I work into my mirror. I can harvest, harvest, harvest is a little circle and then pin. And if that doesn't work, a 4-inch nail or a staple gun always will work. But there, that's really, really pretty, really pretty. So there is our cute little faux bob. So what we've shown you tonight is sort of the playfulness of the world that we're in. And just to sort of summarize, I just wanted to go there and say some of the mistakes that are made out there is not knowing your client's face shape and how to design to the face shape. Not knowing how to design to personality and read the client's personality to make sure you're not over designing or under designing. To understand where the client lives in fashion. Is she classic or is she edgy? Where does she live? The next thing is designing to the sensuality of the woman. Is it sexy? Is it sensual? Looking at how you vogue around the face. And when we vogue around the face, that's how we do our mapping of our design. And that's a very important part of what we do. The lack of communication is a major thing. You know, when you have somebody like this particular lady, was quite challenging to work with. She wanted to keep her hair long, but I transformed her and totally changed her whole look and still kept her sensual, which was her biggest concern. So I did my little demo. And so you've got 2 options now. You can obviously go on your own and take some of these ideas. And I hope tomorrow you start playing with some of the ideas I already shared tonight. I've given you some really juicy, juicy nuggets. Or what I would recommend is book a call with our team. The link is there in the chat. Make that call. What have you got to lose? Nothing. What have you got to gain? Everything. Don't put a handbrake on your future, your career. There are gifts and talents that are unique to you, and it's up to you to seize that moment and go for it. It's never too late, never too late. And what's the most inspiring thing is when I take somebody that's lost their inspiration, lost their joy, and I see the joy coming back in again. But, you know, as in all things, you've got to put the effort in, right? This is not some quick fix. I don't believe in quick fixes. I believe in the real deal. I'm not a gimmicky hairdresser. I'm all about like teaching you things that you can use. And I think it's all about making people look beautiful. I've never been paid any money to make someone look ugly. I've never been paid any money to take an older person and make them look older than they really are. I've been paid to make people look beautiful, the best version of themselves. So I spoke to you about the haircut revolution. Why are women not getting their haircuts right now? I think part of it is because hairdressers are not advising them. I think part of it is hairdressers are scared to cut hair short. Hairdressers are playing it safe, doing the same thing on everybody, and they're getting bored. And I promise you, when you're doing the same as everybody else out there, the product loses value, and that's when it becomes a price war. Sarah, what do you say to that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, when you stay in your comfort zone, there is no room for mistakes. You know, you don't allow for that. So I feel like, you know, with the hair designer program, when we're doing a lot of hair cutting and doing techniques that we haven't done before, you do it on a mannequin. So you make mistakes on something that doesn't care, you know, and that is empowering as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, when people give us the excuse of time, I always say excuses will take you away from your path of success. The average person spends 2 hours a day on social media. When you calculate what that means for the year, that is 30 days. All you've got to do is start managing your time efficiently. And every time you hear an excuse, but, well, if, maybe tomorrow, all you're saying is, I'm taking myself off my path to success. We're here to say, come on the success path. And we're here to stay on the success path. Oh. These teeth were originally in Lassie's mouth. I'm warming up. Rosemary, what would you say?
Well, I think it's really important in regards to developing yourself so that you can find out exactly what kind of individual you want to show up in the world. If you don't put yourself in the shoes of those that you are working with, and you don't put yourself out there to show what you can do by constantly pushing yourself to that next level, how can anyone take the time to trust? Like, in other words, if you don't believe in yourself enough to move forward, why should anybody believe in you?
Absolutely. 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 And guys, as I was mentioning before, we have a very unique success path. We watch videos, we do a live, and then you get feedback on your work. You watch the videos, you join the live, you get feedback on your work. Then what we're talking to you about is how you're promoting yourself through social media. We talk about those important things. We're actually building a social media course right now to help hairdressers get the clients that they want. And that to me is so very, very important. Rosemary, what would be your passing message tonight to our friends?
The one thing I would say is be kind to yourself. Be kind. Be kind, and don't, just because we're in a very large community, but we create ourselves in a very small environment. Because you get so caught up in your own head, and reach out to those that have stepped, walked, talked, felt, journeyed the path before you, because nobody wakes up in the morning thinking to themselves, I can't wait to screw up somebody's day or screw up somebody's hair. We all came into this industry for a reason. So make it a reason that is most purposeful, intuitive, proud, but push yourself. Because if you're not pushing yourself, then why did you join in the first place?
Powerful.
That's my words.
Amen, sister.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Even Petunia agrees. Yeah.
Can I see her? Can you just?
She's all right. Hold on. I'll just.
Are those bats?
Huh?
Are those bats?
It's crows.
Oh, crows.
It's Halloween.
Gee. You know what, Rosemary? Guys, this is going to really scare you. I came to America. We don't really celebrate Halloween. Well, we certainly didn't in the UK when I came here the first time. And I'm wearing this really cute little designer outfit, wearing a little French beret. It's got lots of little zips in it. And someone says to me, and what are you going to be today? And I think that's a really weird question. And I looked at her and she said, well, what are you? I went, what do you mean? She said, what is your costume? I said, costume? She said, Halloween. I went, Halloween? She said, Halloween. I went, and I'm thinking, Halloween? That's some dress up thing, right? And I went, this is not a costume. This is fashion. I was wearing my favorite outfit. She thought I was in a Halloween costume. I thought, oh, bloody hell. She could have seen some of the things I wore in London. Anyway, that's happened to me twice. I think I'm going to go and put these men, Jake and Jake, out there in the front garden. I think that will frighten away everybody, right? Even though they're really great haircuts. But anyway, Sarah, what would your advice be to everyone this evening?
I would say kind of what Rosemary said earlier, how she said yes and figured out the details later, when it came to training under you. I think sometimes we get really, really caught up in the how are we going to do this? How am I going to fit this into my life? Do I have time for this? Like all those questions. And I think when you do say yes, and you figure out the details later, then that's when you actually make things happen. And like Rosemary said, we get caught up in our head with all these things like, I don't have time. I can't do this. It's going to cost too much, whatever. The time is going to pass anyway. Yes. The time is going to pass. So what do you want for your life? Mm-hmm. And are you choosing, are you making the choices that are going to give you what you say you want? And that really is it. That's, to me, the ultimate question.
Yes.
And how bad do you want it?
Absolutely. And for some, you can come to me for next year and you can come and spend 2 days with me. Most of the people who've come here are already in my training program, and it's incredible to see them online and then see them here in person. We're launching a new product, which is called Top Up, which is for our alumni. And I see that there are alumni here tonight where you can come in and just get a little top up. So that's really, really cool. We're trying to think of ways to keep you engaged, to keep the growth happening, because when you leave a coach environment and a community, things can start to wane a little bit. So we are trying to figure out, okay, what's the next thing? We're launching a color series next year, which is super exciting, very interactive. So, we're always thinking what's new, which is why I want you to book the call tonight. How many of you say yes? Come on, in the chat. How many of you are going to say yes, that you're going to book that call and just see how we can serve you and help you? Because I think that would be really, really fun and cool if you did that. Please share what we're doing with your friends. Please, please do. And I thank you for your time this evening. You could be watching Netflix. You could be watching The Crown. You could be watching whatever, but you're here with Mama and my dear, beautiful friends, Rosemary and Sarah. So I thank you very, very much. Thank you for your time, and I really appreciate it. And thank you to my team, to Patricia, to Cindy, and to Jan, who are rocks in my life. And thank you so much, Rosemary. Thank you, Sarah. Have a beautiful evening, and I look forward to seeing you online. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye for now.